We're swinging and a chingling through the day. Johnny Paulson's a lad to keep ye gay. He's completely tireless, so tune in your wireless till swinging Radio Caithness. Well, hello there. Hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome to y'all here till Radio Caithness. This is your swinging, fun-loving desk jockey, Johnny Paulson, bringing you all lots of very best in radio entertainment across the hills and moors. Now we're coming to you as usual on the following frequencies, our usual frequencies: 809.6 kilohertz, 504.9 megahertz, or for most of our rural listeners and the bobbies, that's about an inch and a half from my left on your dial. Yes, we'll be swinging on a chingling. And later in today's fun-packed programme, we'll be having our Gearden phone-in programme. This week entitled Gearden Doon Wen from Doon Ray. And I'll be speaking to a wifey from Strathalladale who tells me her tatty plants have mutated and now they keep trying to strangle her. And her dog is missing. We'll be having our recipe of the week. This recipe this week given to me by our engineer here, Big Chalk Budge. Now, you'll all mind that Chalk, he's a bit of a poacher. He's always out there amongst the small game with his snares and his traps. Well, he's called his recipe appropriately enough Chalkstrap Stew. We'll be having a report about the ugly scenes last night at Harpsdale WRI when Colin Campbell modelled for the art class with a neep in his lap. But all this comes much later, because we're away across now to Radio Betty Hill in Sutherland for this morning's local news headlines. Radio Betty Hill. Hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome to Radio Betty Hill. John Angus Mackay reporting from here in the far north of Sutherland. Well, here are the local news headlines. Following complaints from the tourists that cowpats are making some of the single-track roads in the Highlands impassable, the ever-resourceful Highland region have got the YTS to stick bits of reflecting glass in them. Set them up the middle of the road and call them cow's eyes. This just goes to prove my point. They cannot tell their eyes from their elbow. After allegations that collies taking part in the sheepdog trials may be on steroids, a dog at the Kinloch Bervie trial was disqualified for carrying the sheep into the pen. North poacher Colin Campbell, who spent 6 weeks inside a salmon smoking room hiding from the police, has been fined £30 for poaching and 60 for being an illegal immigrant. He says it was no bad experience, as every third day a lassie came in and rubbed him all over with a mixture of brown sugar and malt whiskey. Following the government announcement that they're going to rehouse 3 million Hong Kong Chinese in the Highlands, our local bed and breakfast landladies have already taken down their old signs and put up new ones, which read Chow En Lai. The Nuclear Authority, NIREX, has merged with the Forestry Commission in a multi-million-pound deal. A spokesman said the two companies should complement one another. NIREX will build a huge underground nuclear dump in the Flow country, and then the Forestry Commission will plant special deep-rooted Christmas trees on the top of it. Now, these Christmas trees will have the added advantage that when they're harvested and sold, they'll have their own built-in fairy lights. Well, that's all the news here at Radio Betty Hill this morning. And now we're away across to Radio Back on the island of Lewis for this morning's forecast, the weather forecast for the Highlands and Islands. Presented this morning by the Reverend Colin MacLeod, our new presenter over there, founder of the small breakaway religious sect on the island of Lewis, the Hebridean Moon Revivalist Church. Hebridean Isle, tune in with a smile. Let radio back take up the slack. Colin MacLeod, sing it out loud, swinging radio back. Greetings. Greetings, fellow sinners, and welcome back to back. Welcome to this morning's weather forecast, prepared and read by the Reverend Colin MacLeod. Well, the day will start fine, but a very low and deepening depression will chastise you all by mid-morning. The present light breeze will become a screeching, howling, wailing banshee of a gale, with loud claps of deafening thunder, terrible forks of lightning, sheets of horizontal rain will be followed by a plague of millions of biting midges. Yes, by dinner time, hell, fire, flood and pestilence will be upon you all. However, toward evening, the day will improve dramatically as a lovely warm front moves in. The widow McLennan's coming round to see me. Well, that's the weather forecast here at Radio Back this morning. And now it's time for your early morning letter spot, your problem letters here to Radio Back. And a problem shared with the Reverend MacLeod is a problem solved. Now I have a letter here from a lady in Kinlochnoidert. She signs herself as Miss Worried of Kinlochnoidert. She says she's awful worried about the hippies who have bought the croft next door to hers. She says she thinks they're growing marijuana. But the hippies say it's cabbage. And how can she tell the difference? Well, sadly, not an uncommon occurrence in the West these days, Miss Worried. Now, the way I would handle this is you don't want to fall out with your neighbours. Go along and ask the hippies if you can try some. Now, Miss Worried, when you've eaten it, if after half an hour you're still worried, then it's cabbage. Yes, well now, we have a wee bit of a song spinning on the turntable for you here this morning at Radio Back. Sung on this recording by a former member of the Stornoway Stock Exchange, a failed seaweed broker, Colin Campbell. Colin went bust after selling a cargo of seaweed to the Chinese as an aphrodisiac. But the vessel he hired was a Caledonian McBrain on a Sunday sailing. So she took a day longer than expected to reach Peking, with the result that the cargo went high on the high seas. Now, in the ensuing much publicised court case, the local importer, a local man, a second-generation Chinese restaurateur from Harris, Murdo Huflang McDang, he said all he had got for his money was a smell. In his now famous reply, Mr. Campbell sang, "Oh, you've just smelt the tangle of the isles."
So stay with me, oh, the memory of a Highland love, of the sweet, gentle girl that I knew so long ago. Those days are gone, like the blossom of the summer gleam. You still are forever my Celtic queen. So take my hand across the glens of time, once more o'er the hill, together we will climb, though to be seen only in a dream. You are still forever my Celtic queen. So stay with me, oh, the memory of a gentle face, of the mist grey eyes, like the mist upon the hill, the haunting smile, the blackest hair I've ever seen are memories of you, my Celtic queen. So stay with me, oh the memory of a Highland love, of the sweet gentle girl that I knew so long ago. Those days are gone, like the blossom of the summer gleam, you still are forever my Celtic queen. So take my hand across the glens of time, once more o'er the hill, together we will climb, though to be seen only in a dream. You are still forever my Celtic queen. Yes, you are still forever my Celtic queen.
Yes. Now it's back to Radio Caithness and Johnny for their phone-in programme. Are you there, John? Well, yes, welcome back. And now it's time for our phone-in programme on topical issues affecting the Highlands. Dial John for justice. And this week we're looking at plans by NIREX to build a huge underground nuclear dump in Caithness. And indeed, several teams of NIREX investigators have been all over the county looking for a suitable site. And indeed they have been till the croft of our first caller, 88-year-old Miss Bessie Budge of Jonagroats. Well, I see she's on the line here. Hello, Bessie. Hello, Johnny. Now, Bessie, just ye take your time and in your own words tell me and the listeners here what happened when this high-powered team of investigators from NIREX came to your croft here at Jonagroats. Oh, Johnny, well, I was just finished welding a patch on a down spreader when there was a lassie and 3 chilies came to the door here saying they were from NIREX. Well, Johnny, as you know, I'm a bit hard of hearing, so I thought at first they said they were from Pyrex. A fine firm of ovenware makers, Johnny, for whom I have great admiration, having used their containers over the years. Well, under this severe misapprehension, Johnny, I took them in and I treated them like royalty. The very best I had in the house here, potted hide sandwiches, oat cakes, basty cheese. I told them they were awful lucky to get a treat like a basty cheese because you only get head when a coo is just new calved. But it was all such a waste, Johnny. It was all such... The cheese was too strong for them, and I had to let 3 of them out onto the medding. I had to let 3 of them out onto the medding to be sick. Well, Johnny, Elasigi kept on asking if they could drill holes in a croft to see how their containers would react under great pressure and heat. Well, I told them there was no need to go to that length, and I offered them the use of my piped fire dagger. Well, it's very hot, Johnny, and it hasn't been out since 1955. Since we had your own wheat year with the pipes. Well, they thought this wasn't really suitable, so, John, it'll illustrate how much faith I had in their containers. I told them about the day I went down to the mart in week to sell my cross short-horn turkey, Dennis. I called him that because he was awful fond of a dram. Anyway, no, Johnny, before going to the mart, I decided to give Chini a slow roasting. Chini was a 19-year-old Rhode Island Red hen. I knew she'd be tough, but I reckon a day or so inside the aga. when I was away at Mart, would soften her up a bit. Anywhere no, I shoved Chini and Leaga, secure in my old Pyrex covered roasting dish, and away I went, Mart. Well, I got a great price for Dennis, but then I fell in with a bad crowd slunks of farmers and cattle dealers who invited me, and especially the money I had got for Dennis, back to Mackay's Hotel for a dram. Well, I'm ashamed to tell you, Johnny, but the next 3 days are a complete blank. Anyway or no, Johnny, when I got back to Crofty, Aga was still going strong, and Jeannie was done like tea. Just perfect, absolutely perfect, like a spring chicken. Well, I put it tell the team of investigators if this didn't prove the worth of their containers under great pressure and height, what did? Well, by this time, Johnny, they were looking at one another and laughing a lot. One of them asked if they could try plutonium pie in the oven. And then the lassie came clean and said they were from Nyrex and no Pyrex. And the reason they wanted to drill holes in my crofty, Johnny, was to see if it was suitable for a nuclear suppository. Excuse me there, Basie. Excuse me butting in on you there, Basie, but surely you've got your wordies a little mixed up there. Surely you mean a nuclear repository. Oh no, Johnny, you see, you didn't ken where I told them to pet it. Yes, and now it's time to slip across to our sister radio station in the Orkney Islands, Radio Papa Westry. Your station in the North Isles is Radio Papa Westry. We're number one with the oilmen and the minister in the vestry. Tune in for the price of fish or when you're feeling flat. For the man to put you right, the swinging Magnus twat. Hello? Hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome to Radio Papa Westry. Magnus Twat reporting from these misty Orkney Islands. Well, first this morning's road traffic report here on Papa Westry. Well, local crofter Mago Feemster is walking with her milking cow Marina to Eric Flett's Bull at the north end of the island. Being a single track road, we're one better than the mainland because we've got two tailbacks. Aye, one hanging for the cow. Now the air travel report. Well, you all can know that the Logan Air flight between Westry and Papa Westry is in the Guinness Book of Records as being the world's shortest commercial airline flight. It has an average duration of 1 minute 58 seconds. However, this morning there's a 60-mile-an-hour tailwind. So she's 2 minutes 5 seconds early. My goodness, this means it'll arrive before it left. I knew this morning's local news here at Papa Westry. Well, the ancient hieroglyphic writing which has been found on the walls of the Norse settlement at Scarabray has finally been deciphered by local historian and plumber Geordie Tate. He says it reads thus: never mind standing on the seat, for a right good plumber ring Geordie Tate. No, all this bales of cannabis that's been washed up on the shores of Orkney, thrown overboard from a passing ship, have caused a lot of problems locally. A local crofter, Magnus Linkletter, found a bale of this cannabis washed up on the shore. He thought it was a bale of hay. And he fed it his milking cow, Macy. Well, he's been fined at Kirkwall Sheriff Court for selling hallucinatory butter that spreads itself. Well, that's all the news here at Papa West 3. Magnus Twat reporting it back to Radio Caithness and Johnny. Are you there, John? Yes, welcome back to Swing on Radio Caithness. And now we're away across for this morning's local radio mastermind competition till Radio Betty Hill in Sutherland, and John Angus Mackay will just have to take a wee sip of tea here. So it's over to Radio Betty Hill for the local radio mastermind competition. Radio Betty Hill. Hello, good morning and welcome back to Radio Betty Hill to this morning's local radio mastermind competition. Let me remind you of the rules of this competition. It's virtually the same as the television version, except that each week we just have the one competitor in the studio, and at the end of a 15-week period, the person with the highest score wins the first prize, which this year is a fabulous weekend for two inside a duty-free warehouse of your choice at any distillery in Scotland. The prize was kindly donated by the Scottish Illicit Whisky Distillers Association and Her Majesty's Customs and Excise. And could we have this week's competitor into the famous black chair? Could you give your name and your occupation, please? Aye, my name is Jokie McPherson, and I'm a lapsed teetotal distillery worker for Glentucket Distillery on Speyside. And what is your specialist subject? The history of Glentucket Distillery from March 1834 till they give me my drummy this very morning. Okay, Jockey McPherson, you have 2 minutes on the history of Glentucket Distillery, and your time starts now. The two oldest distilleries in Scotland are Glentucket and Glenlivet. How did they get their names? Well, in March 1834, twa brothers was making an illicit drum in the hills near Tomintoul, when they spotted the excise coming down the glen. They hurriedly cleared up, but they didn't ken fit to do with the copper still. One said Tucket, but the other said leave it. Correct. In distillery jargon, which is the odd one out? Drammy, nippy, large one, doon the leg of my boiler suit, mouthful, toothful, bucketful, or Colin Campbell? Doon the leg of my boiler suit. It's a hiding place, all the rest are whisky measures. Correct. And which of these measures has the greatest capacity? The bucketful? No, it's Colin Campbell, because when it's free, it takes a hell of a bucketful. In the whisky recession of 1980, you were briefly made redundant from the distillery, and you got a job with the county roads department working a compressed air pneumatic drill. How did you react? Aye, we left it coming off the drum. My shock was so bad. For the first fortnight, I didn't need any power to work a drill. You went to old Dr. McRae in the village with your shake. What was his diagnosis? He said, Machty me, Maloon, we're shock out bad. You must be spelling some. Correct. Your great hero and fellow distillery worker, Colin Campbell, over a number of years carried several thousand gallons of whisky out through the distillery gates in 2 hot water bottles slung from his neck. He was frequently questioned by the Customs and Excise about the swellings on his chest. What was his standard reply? Oh, you can cry me Mary, I've had the operation. Correct, and on his way into the distillery in the mornings, he was again frequently questioned about why he was flat-chested in the mornings. What again is his now famous standard reply? I fed the bear afore I come awa. In 1984, you pulled the wrong handle and 1,600 gallons went into the River Spey. What was the outcome? We all learned to swim. In 1987, when Colin Campbell fell into the spirit vessel, 3 things happened. What were they? The bacteria count went up, production went down, and there was a fight over if I was getting to ring out his boiler suit. In In 1989, the distillery was overrun with mice. Why was this? Hamish distillery cat was a war getting dried out. Correct. Earlier this year, you had bored a hole in a barrel and you were siphoning out a pailful when you saw the customs and excise coming. How did you react? Well, I was startled, but I finished. And we have a wee bit of a song spinning on the turntable for you here.
Oh, green was the how in June, scattered her gowans white. My feet sped and age shed away for light. And the child's form yet once more was mine, and I was back among the Banffshire braes. I heard the lonely peewit call, I saw the sun set o'er the Balloch hill, I saw the knock, majestic Kilbaddy's kindly roll, and I, dead child of years so long asleep, gazed with delight on yonder Banffshire braes. I reached the bridge and paused one last long look, which gave me back all I had deeply loved, and then I tipped my golden memories back into that singing burn. Oh, green was the how in June, scattered her gowans white. My feet sped and age shed away for light, and the child's form yet once more was mine, and I was back among the Banffshire braes, and I was back among the Banffshire braes.
Yes, and now it's time for our phone-in programme, Hedge Your Line. And today, Hedge Your Line to the DSS, the Department of Health and Social Security. And with me in the studio here is our resident experts on all kinds of benefit from that department and from the island of Lewis, Mardina MacLeod. Oh, here in Camerahua Folly. And the same to you, Mardina. Would you mind speaking English? And the same to you, Johnny. And we have our first... We have our first caller on the line. Hello, who's that? Hello, this is Inverness Telephone Exchange. I've an Isaac Anonymous from Dingwall on the line. Will you pay for the call? Oh, no him again, is it? Okay, Isaac, get your line to the DSS.
Aye, Cove.
How's it going? Now, here's my problem. I've been out of work for several years and it's cut my loodian. A price to keep me whippets and ferrets these days, I mean. And there's nothing in non-ferrous metals. Now... Now, I've been out of work for several years. I used to work with the county in the roads department, but I had to give it up in the summertime because I'm allergic to the sun. I kept getting blisters on my backside. Now the Godgies doing the DSS in Dingwall. The Godgies doing the DSS in Dingwall are giving me a bad time saying I've got to get some kind of work. Can you help me at all? Oh, well, now, let me see what we can do for you here. You're allergic to the sun. Could you handle a winter road mending job at all? No bother. Cove, I'm bending over backwards to try and come forwards here now. Well, apparently you're allowed to specify what stretch of road you'd like to work on to save travelling. Have you any preference, Isaac, for the coming winter for road mending? Yes, I would like to work, in fact I must work, on the stretch between Cockbridge and Tom and Tow. Oh dear, now that could be difficult. Now let me see what else I can do for you. What about weekend working in the winter? Would you work at the weekend? No bother, Cove. I'm only trying to help you. I'm doing my best to help you here now. You can put me down as being available for Sunday gritting on the Struy. Oh, well now, Isaac, you could well be in luck here, because I have it on good authority that just as soon as the Dornoch Bridge is open, Highland Regional Council plan to start Sunday gritting in the Struy. Yes. Welcome back here to Swing on Radio Caithness, bringing ye all lots of very best in radio entertainment across the hills and moors of Caithness. And now we're away south till the bonny Black Isle for this morning's local news headlines on Black Isle Radio. Aye. Good morning, right enough, and welcome to the bonny Black Isle. This is your DJ for the day here, Donny Mathieson. All set for another session of shaving away the depression here on Swinging Black Isle Radio. Right enough. Well, here's this morning's local news headlines. That's the peps. The management, the Highland Fabricators Oil Rig Construction Yard at Neg, have written a letter of complaint to local crofter Colin Campbell that his yows have been wandering through the yard making a damn nuisance of themselves. Colin has written back saying that this was perfectly natural at this time of the year because the yows must have heard they'd a hydraulic ram. A Highland Regional Councillor who fell asleep at the checkout at Howden's Garden Centre in Inverness and was sold by mistake as a garden gnome. Says he quite likes his new job and it's much the same as the one he had before. A country house belonging to a toff in the glen of Achfarish was stripped by very thorough burglars at the weekend. The radiators were ripped from the walls, the hot water tank, even the lavatory was stolen. A police spokesman, the local Bobby, says he has nothing to go on. Following the government announcement that people who sleep rough in the streets will be exempt from the poll tax, Colin Campbell has been seen on Academy Street in Inverness at 4 a.m. wrapping a press and journal. Yes, welcome back. And now it's time for another episode of the Campbell's O Slack Tacket. From Radio Achnagat in Aberdeenshire, another episode of the Campbell's O Slack Tacket, an everyday story o' Bach and Fairman folk. But first, let me bring you up to date. In this week's episode, Geordie Campbell and his son Willie are standing in a cornier that he means a slack tacket with a coo and a halter. They're waiting for the Department of Agriculture man to arrive because they have applied to the department and the government to register a brand new breed of coo, the Campbell's O Slack Tacket. Here he comes, Dad. Here he comes in his fine new car. Mind and spec kind of properly so we can understand what the hell you're saying.
Like I was showing you, Dad. Emphasize your vowels. Emphasize your vowels, Dad.
Shut your moo, Willie. Cautious devil, you can't damn find him as regular as clockwork. Hello. Hello there, Mr. Campbell. I'm the man from the Department of Agriculture. Is this your new breed of cow? Nah, it's my son, Willie. Try the other end of the halter. Oh, I'm awful sorry. I didn't get out of the office muckle these days. No, so this is her. She looks very ordinary to me. Here, my man, there's nothing ordinary about this cow. This is Flora, the world's first polyunsaturated cow. Polyunsaturated? I thought that came from sunflower seeds. Aye, well, this was my brilliant idea, you see. Hey, hang fire here, Willie. This is my idea. I came up with this idea when you was still throwing scurly out of your high chair. You see, my man, I weaned Flora off a mixture of bruised corn, neeps and her ground-up relatives, and onto nothing but sunflower seeds. And now she's eating a bin of her wicked every day. Oh my goodness, only side effects. Yeah, just eating, my man, just eating. It's a bit of a job digesting all these seeds. So I wouldn't stand for yours, darling. She can be ozone unfriendly at that time. Mind you, she's hell of a good at keeping the cross off a barley. And she's hitting a minister off his bike twice. Now, tell me, Mr. Campbell, how does Flora's calf thrive on this kind of milk? Oh, no, my man. Not only is Flora polyunsaturated, she's been decaffeinated as well. See, Flora's milk's very valuable. Hippies are daft about it, you see. No, and she's awful easy to milk, you can. When old-fashioned good is very hard work, this squeeze, pull and release. But with Flora, the milk's as thin, you just squeeze and release. There's no need to pull, you can. Now, tell me, Mr. Campbell, what's her pedigree? I'll need it for my files, you see. Aye, well, I bought her off a vegetarian white settler if I come up here for the south, and bought the firm a nether slack tucket. A 4 on 12 bad winters, a walk back home again, no. Well, he said she was an Ayrshire cross, but he wasn't sure of her feather. He thought it might have been a Vauxhall Cavalier. A Vauxhall Cavalier? Oh, aye, well, you can't fight settlers. It would have been the artificial inseminator. There are driving Vauxhalls into the Oxter, say, to spec and date with Lawrence of Camney and SMT, ken. Now, is there any other advantages of this kind of breed, Mr. Campbell? Machty, aye, the biggest benefit of all. Flora's producing the world's first polyunsaturated, decaffeinated garden fertilizer. We're making an absolute fortune off it. Turn up your car wireless here. We've made an advert all by ourselves. We're Willie made this wee advert. Turn up your car wireless and we'll hear it on radio. Ach, na God. Gardeners, that's the most valuable thing you can put on your garden. Yes. Shh, you can fit. Throw away those nasty chemical fertilizers. It's time you get organic with shh. You can fit, or as it is better known round here, a muck out of Geordie's buyer. So come on, you keen gardeners, have something to tell about the grand product that I have to sell. It's beautiful stuff, had a waft of the smell, it's the muck out of Geordie's buyer. Just dig plenty in and you'll ken all the odds that your peas will be bulging right out of their pods. You'll lay tacks and leaps by the bar, a load using the muck out of Geordie's buyer. It's good for the roses, it fair makes them bloom. You'll hae the best borders for money a mile round. You'll hae nae bother winning bucking and bloom using the muck out of Geordie's buyer. If ever to buy some you should feel inclined, just give us a phone call, no matter the time. The number's locked at 679 and get the muck out of Geordie's buyer. Shh, you can fit. Hi, I know it's back to Radio Caithness and Johnny. Are you there, Johnny? Yes. Yes, welcome back. And now it's time to go down to Radio Ballinluig in Perthshire. Bonnie Perthshire there and Billy Henderson. Here, Billy. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning and welcome to Radio Ballinluig here in Bonnie Perthshire. And first this morning, motorsport for your brand new circuit, the A9. And and first in yesterday's race was the Porsche. Driven at a remarkable 155 mile an hour. Second was a Granada driven by the Bobies. And third was a Larry for Dalwhinnie. I knew this morning's local news headlines at an industrial tribunal yesterday at Perth Sheriff Court. Colin Campbell for Dalwhinnie sued his former employers, the Coast Guard Service, for unfair dismissal. For the past 31 years, Colin has been drawing a salary as Dalwhinnie's lighthouse keeper. However, the Coast Guard say at Dalwhinnie is 60 mile for the sea in any direction, and they've no idea who Colin got onto the computer. In his defence, Mr Campbell said that Dalwhinnie was the highest village in Britain, and on a clear night, his light could be seen in the South Mench and the North Sea. The sheriff found in his favour, and as he was serving both sides of Scotland, he doubled the salary and backdated 31 years. I knew the skiing results for Glen Shee, and first the Boopa. Downhill at breakneck speed, it was won by a Tayside County Council snaplow driver. Second was his mate with a splint. The National Health race, the race sponsored by the National Health had to be stopped when other competitors hit a wooden snaff fence made for cutbacks.
My name is Sandy Mingus, I'm a Rannoch man forby. I've heard it all, the drovers' roars, from the borders north to Skye. And I've trammed many's the weary mile, from Caithness down to Green Argyle. Now I'm back by Long Loch Rannoch, back where I call home. It's an early rise before the skies are tinged with morning grey. Call up the dogs, old Floss and Dan, and it's o'er the hills away. Gather in the yowes on the heather knolls, at neath Chehallion, humbly balls. Guide them back by Long Loch Rannoch, back where I call home. With a sturdy crook, I'd o'er the dyke and cross the Finnert burn. Come in by Floss, that's my bonny lass, fairly mak the gimmers turn. Do you mind the time when the blizzard blind blew o'er the moor at Lamentine? 500 lammin yows were lost on Rannoch ere the fold. I've travelled north, I've travelled south, the country for to see. I've known times hard and I've known times good, that's the way they'll always be. But aye, for me, the Mp3 stands tall on Rannoch, wild and free. It's here on Rannoch I belong, it's here I'll surely be. It's here on Rannoch I belong, it's here I'll surely be.
And now it's time for the evening service. And I thought that would shock you. It's time now for the evening service here at the local radio network. And you just sit back and relax, because we're going live now till the island of Lewis, and the Reverend Colin Moon MacLeod, founder of the small breakaway religious sect on the island there, the Hebridean Moon Revivalist Church. So let's take it across the mensch. Greetings, greetings, and welcome back to Radio Back. And because we have with us the powerful microphones of Radio Back, I am able to preach this evening to a much wider congregation in such far-flung, distant and exotic places as Ballinvianney and Briescleit. Those of you who have heard my sermons before will know that I don't tend to preach about things that happened long ago in distant and exotic places. No, my sermons are drawn from life, as it is lived here in the islands, in the present day, in the fast lane, as it were. Metaphorically speaking. And from my life in particular, because my time on this earth has been a rich tapestry of trials and tribulations, and it is upon one of these trying episodes I wish to dwell for a while this evening. And so, fellow sinners, I would ask you to wipe your minds clean. That's possible for you, Hamish. Gird up your loins. Later, Beth, later. And clasp me to your bosoms. In a while, Jean. Now, I'm not one of these killjoy ministers. I tend to encourage the arts, being myself a rather fine exponent of the great Highland bagpipe, and I am regularly asked to play every year for the Highland dancing competition at the Ardnavinish Cattle Show and Highland Games. Have you been, Isabel? I tell you about my piping because it was my new set of pipes that caused all my troubles last summer, and it is upon this trying episode in my life that I wish to draw tonight's lesson and my text, a cry from within, a cry from within. Quite a few of you will already be asking yourselves, is this not the famous Reverend Colin MacLeod, who owned that beautiful set of Macrimond pipes, over 150 years old and worth in excess of £2,000? Yes, I am that man. Now, the beautiful set of pipes were left to me by my late Uncle Roddy when he was so tragically run over at the Peats by his own Ferguson tractor. Driven very much to his surprise by the look on his face by his wife, my Aunt Chrissy, who has been more or less blind since she was involved in the salvage of the SS Politician. The Whiskey Galore ship during the war. Now, I have cherished these pipes over the years, and as I live alone, as I'm a bachelor and I live alone, I would play them every evening to my collie bitch Morag. Little knowing that she would be their downfall. One night, returning home late from a purely pastoral visit to the widow MacLennan, I was somewhat surprised to find that Morag had attacked the pipes with such savagery as to render them unrecognisable. Well, I couldn't understand her behaviour, so I took her to one of these new vet-cum-animal psychologists that's come to the islands. I don't know about psychology, but he was certainly clever with figures, with what he charged me. Anyway, he said that Morag was in heat. I said, tell me something I don't know. Had I not used over 100 cartridges recently, protecting her from every mangy brute in the district? He thanked me profusely. He said he didn't notice me put all that extra business his way. He said this was partly the trouble. With no male of her species to be seen, Morag had fallen in love with the pipes, which I always leave on the top of my salt herring barrel when I go out. Well, with the chanter, the drones, and all the lovely tassels hanging down over the side of the barrel, Morag had mistaken the pipes for a cross beardy. And after a short courtship and finding the pipes refused to get up off the barrel and do something positive about her condition, she had decided to murder them. Egged on by the smell of cordite and squeals from the pipes every time she leapt on the bag, the results were catastrophic. The man from the St Kilda Insurance Company laughed in my face. Well, with the Ardnavinish Games coming on, I realised I would have to move fast and get a new set of pipes, or my place at the games would be taken by the whisky-swilling Colin Campbell, or as he is better known in the islands, the pie-eyed piper of Point. Was it not him who caused that dreadful melee at a Catholic funeral in Barra when he played the slow air in 6/8 time, causing the procession to reach the graveside all flushed and breathless, and 25 minutes before the deceased? And then had he not the audacity to fall in the hole, and was immediately covered over by the equally inebriated County Council roadmen? And had not one of his drones been sticking up through the surface, giving him an airline, he would surely have perished. Yes, the devil looks after his own, and no, we could not have the good name of the games besmirched by such a man. As luck would have it, I was thumbing through the advertisements in the Stornoway Gazette when I came across a firm calling themselves Macorean Pipes of the Old Kent Road in London town, advertising a new set of pipes for £99.99. Well, I was desperate, so I sent off a cheque, and duly a parcel came back through the post. I was somewhat surprised the pipes were so light, and the inscription on the bag said, "Don't play them in the direct sunlight, or in the rain." However, the sound, although not of the quality of my old set, was tolerable, and Morag seemed quite to like it. My real problems began at the games themselves. I was in the middle of playing the Lancers for young Sheena McKinnon, a comely girl of some 13 years and 14 stones, when something went disastrously wrong with her pas-de-pas. Her feet became somewhat intermeshed with one another, and as she came hurtling towards me, she stuck out her hand to try and save herself. For one horrible moment, I thought she was going to grab me by the chanter. But as luck would have it, instead she delivered me one almighty blow right in the back. Now, the results of the horrendous blowback are many and dreadful, and I still have to take a deep breath before I can speak about it. Those of you in piping circles will know that this much-feared phenomenon is known technically as a gasander, and in any good quality set of pipes there is an anti-gasander valve to stop the air being forced back down the piper's throat. Well, in my set it was either faulty or missing, I don't know, because we never found it. Anyway, when Sheena hit me, a lot of things happened very fast and have cost me dearly one way and another. The repairs to my dental bridge have cost about the same as the new one proposed between Skye and the mainland. With the sudden influx of air, my already powerful neck swelled up to twice its normal size, causing my brass dog collar stud to be fired as if from a gun. Now, the timing of this could not have been worse, as it struck Big Angus McCaskill on the backside, just as he had reached the end of his run and was about to deliver the 18-foot caber. In the event, he gave the caber a tremendous heave, but he forgot to let go. Nobody could believe their eyes as Big Angus soared skywards, like some monstrous kilted pole vaulter, bawling something bad in Gaelic. And as the caber slowly reached the perpendicular, with Big Angus's 18 stone on the top of it, it sank about 5 feet into the soft peat of the field, and there it stuck. Now, everybody knows Big Angus gets vertigo on a bar stool, so the fire brigade was called, but their ladder was too short, what with everything in the crofts being single story. Then some loon taking part in the power saw championships brought matters to a head by running in and cutting the caber off at ground level. Now, Big Angus came earthward with a high-pitched yell that belied his size. The tackets in his huge boots glinting in the sun, his kilt acting as a parachute. Speculation as to what was worn under the kilt was no longer speculation. My dear friend, the widow McLennan, who was acting as Red Cross lady, fainted. And when she came round, she was adamant it had all been a horrible dream. It wasn't until they showed her Big Angus's impression in the peat that she grasped the naked truth of it all. And she hasn't been round to see me since. Whilst all this was going on, several other things were happening simultaneously. 2 of my imitation ivory drones shot off, and one of them broke Gypsy Rose McPhee's crystal ball. And she sued me in the courts. But what I said was, if she was any good at her job, she would have seen it coming. But the worst thing of all, dear friends and fellow sinners, was the fact that I swallowed the reed from my chanter. Hence cometh my text, a cry from within, a cry from within. The fact was, I could still play a tune, but I didn't need the pipes anymore. And it was so unpredictable. A big plate of Googa and tatties, and I could almost guarantee you John MacDonald's farewell to Glencoe. I went to old Dr. Murchison in the village with it. The old man has rarely smiled in all the years I have known him. Well, he was hysterical. With tears streaming down his face, he gave me some stomach mixtures and said he hoped that this would make me play a sea chanty. And then he fell helplessly to the floor. But as you can imagine, dear friends, delivering a sermon was going to be a nerve-wracking experience. I had a light breakfast on the Sunday following the games: porridge, home-cured ham, gull's eggs, strubach and toast. Everything was going fine. We were launching into verse 14 of Psalm 81 when my worst fears came true. From deep within me came the unmistakable opening bars of the real Mrs. MacLeod of Rassay. My elder and presenter of the Psalms, Lachlan McRae, stood bolt upright, like Lot's wife. He was cut off in mid-wail. The congregation fell silent with a look of mass electrocution, and then they all fell about laughing. The shame of it all. Now, the only good thing that has come out of all this, as each week has gone by, this tiny meeting hall has become fuller and fuller, until today it's bursting at the seams. But they haven't come to hear my sermons. No, they have come for a cry from within. A cry from within. Now, with all these people about, I've been accused of being mercenary in the local tabloid press, the Stornham Gazette. I've been accused of being mercenary just because I installed in the car park a coin-operated ticket machine. But I'm not asking them to put money in it. All I ask is that they pray and display. And so, fellow sinners, you'll be wanting home for your dinners. So I'll finish with a rhyme and I'll play Auld Lang Syne. If you're looking for a march, a strathspey or a reel, have a little pity and think how I feel. Now here's some advice. As this lesson I preach, if your bitch is in heat, keep your pipes out of reach. Yes, welcome back to Swing on Radio Cathas. And now it's time for our interview of the week. And following our report yesterday that an East Coast trawler had set up a new world speed record for going astern at 35 knots off Helmsdale, the Royal Navy have admitted that one of their nuclear submarines was involved. Now, we're delighted that both skippers have agreed to come into the studio here at Radio Caithness to be interviewed. First is skipper of a Peterhead trawler in Sepid, Chalk, Maine. How will Malone fit like? And the captain of the nuclear submarine, Lieutenant Commander Neville for Fortescue Smith. Hello. May I correct you? For Fortescue Smythe with an E. Well, you canna see very well with your damned E, Malone. And you canna even keep out over nets. Now then, gentlemen, if I could take charge here. Firstly, Skipper Main, what's your version of what exactly happened out there? We'd shot our nets off Helmsdale. I was in the wheelhouse filling in my benefit for him. The wife's needing a new Mercedes, you can. Only been out the 2 days at work. And Dan Balloon of mine drove the last day straight down the beach and into the sea at 3 in the morning. Tell the bobbies he's only trying to dip his headlight. On the road, when I look it up from my paperwork, Helmsdale seemed to be a hell of a lot smaller than it was. And we seemed to be heading for the Orkneys at enough a speed backwise. Now, Skipper, what was your immediate reaction to this phenomenon? I doubled the amount of benefit I was claiming, and then I rang Sinny in the engine room for full speed ahead. He said we were full speed ahead. I said I can't the engine needing an overhaul, but this was ridiculous. Now, Lieutenant, what's your version of what happened out there?
We were proceeding...
proceeding to Dounreay at 22 knots to pick up a new atomic fuel core and dump the old one in the new council dump up there. When I was in my stateroom dressing for dinner when number one came in saying we'd slowed up a bit and would I like a fresh haddock for dinner, as we seemed to be surrounded by it. Hey, now, Lieutenant, what was your reaction to this? Well, I shouted to number one, throw another lump of coal on the boiler, which is naval slang for give the uranium a poke. Then I upped periscope, and there seemed to be what looked like a string vest across the lens. I immediately reprimanded the crew for leaving washing out to dry when we were submerged. Then I saw Skipper Main's vessel coming towards us at a great rate of knots. I shouted to number one, look at this cheeky blighter, he's racing us. It was then I gave the order to go up to 35 knots. Now, you still had no idea you were in his nets, Lieutenant? Absolutely not. What I saw across the lens looked remarkably like a string vest. A hang fire here, Malone. Now, our nets looks nothing like string vest. Do you ken the size of the EEC mesh these days? It's huge. If you was to mark our nets into string vest, you wouldn't need to leave a hole for your head. Could shove it through only, why? Now, Skipper Main, what was your reaction as your speed gradually increased to 35 knots? Well, I lost my benefit for him to the mast. And as we was passing Duncansby Head, I used the new radio and procedure to tell the Department of Fisheries my earlier decision to fish in the North Sea had been reversed. Well, gentlemen, time has caught up with us, but maybe Skipper Main had something when he told me earlier he thought he had started a new type of sport out there in the North Sea. He called it nuclear fishing. Blessings on you, bairns. Blessings on you and welcome to Radio Scallywag here in the Shetland Islands in the land of the simmer dim. Doddy Oddy reporting. Now here's the local news headlines. A second-generation Shetland Chinese restaurateur, Hung Lo Inkster, recently in the news when he chammed the health inspector's fingers in the door, is back in the news again. His application to the Shetland Islands Council to open a revolving restaurant, the top of a gas flare stack at Sulamvo, has been approved. He has also won the contract with Loganair for the in-flight catering on the world's shortest flight. Westray to Papa Westray is a duration of 1 minute 58 seconds. And although it's a standard set menu of Shetland bird's nest soup, passengers will have 3 choices: in a hurry, force-fed, or intravenous. Following the news of an outbreak of Dutch elm disease in Shetland, we've been inundated with calls as to where the elm was, or any other tree for that matter. Well, the outbreak actually occurred in local crofter Ruby Chamison's box bed. And now, Ruby, we've been in touch with our resident expert on timber matters, the manager of MFI in Aberdeen, and he says try painting the bed with paraffin. But for God's sake, didn't smoke the clay pipe for about a week, you know. We have a wee bit of a song here.
Does the Herstmoon still rise atween Hillyness and Cara and Sheenuts Ryan, like the lang silver arrow making brack on the team? Seem like white ponies dancing, are the seals still asleep on the slipway at Sonser? Does the Dunter still croon on the fine still for morning, shivin' the ripple through the mirror afore them? When you called as the echo at Sunblash still answer, Are the seals still asleep on the slipway at sunset? Does the Herst moon still rise between hilliness and Cara and Sheenat's Ryan, like the lang silver arrow making brack on the team, seem like white ponies dancing? Are the seals still asleep on the slipway at sunset?
Now, you'll all have heard by now about the Findhorn Challenge. This little toonie on the Murray Coast has put in a challenge for the world's most prestigious yacht race, the America's Cup. Now, the Yanks are absolutely intrigued by this, and the head of the New York Yacht Club has been trying to get them all day. It's very late at night. Nobody's left in the Findhorn Yacht Club, except the cleaner, Mrs. Mary Ross from Elgin. The phone rings. Hello, this is Mary Ross, the Elgin speaking. Findhorn Yacht Club here. Hi, Mary, this is David Connors, president of the New York Yacht Club. Anybody else around there? No, they're all walking blazing, I know you can. Mary, I'm intrigued by this Findhorn Challenge. I'm planning to sail across there, but I can't find it on my world atlas. Can you help me? I will. I just come fair over the Atlantic here as if you was making for 4S. Then stick your head up in between Caithness and Orkney. Then turn right at Chona Groats, come fair down the coast, I'll leave the torch on my bike switched on. So you'll ken fun to come ashore. The easy ken it, it's an old rudge with 30-inch rims. And a very uncomfortable saddle. Hey, tell me, Mary, is the Findhorn sloop a catamaran? Nah, just put him out with a bowl of saps. No, Mary, I mean, what design is the Findhorn yacht? I'm sworn to secrecy, I'm sworn not to tell. Come on, Mary, is there anything I can bring you across from the good old USFA that you might like? The loons that used to come to Lossiemouth during the war to flee the plains, they had recht fine long fogs and stockings. No problem, Mary. Now, what about the design? Apparently she's based on an East Coast salmon cobble. Salmon cobble, Mary, never heard of it. It must be revolutionary. Has she a big draft? Drafty? My God, they took me for a sail in the bay. I was just perished. Now, Mary, tell me how she's rigged. What kind of sails has she, Mary? Oh, she's bra-rigged. Is that the Scots word, bra, Mary? Nah, bra as in big woman. She's modelled. The sails is modelled on a Mrs. McCorkadale for 4S. Yes. Big woman. See when she's out in the bay there with the cups full of wine, you can't see the Black Isle. Now, Mary, where's all the dollars coming? Who's behind all this? Hey, well, didn't say on a hen, but I heard the knackery was a hen nam. But the rendering business is not so good to know, so they'll have plenty tallow to rub on our boat. Well, I'll hit a run. Mind the fogs and look out for a bike now. Cheerio. Bye-bye.